It's the E.A.R. Chronicles. It's the E.A.R. Chronicles. I'm talking TV. I'm talking movies. I'm talking anime, cartoons, sci-fi, and fantasy. It's the E.A.R. Chronicles. It's the E.A.R. Chronicles.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the E.A.R Chronicles with your boy Eric. And we're going to get into another episode of X-Men 97 in our X-Chat series. So, welcome if you're new here to the place where you're going to get an earful of my thoughts on TV shows and movies that I like. And so, I'm excited to jump right into episode 7 of X-Men 97. All these sevens. Is that good name? I wonder. I don't know. But our X-Chat series has been moving right along, and I'm excited to talk about this one. It was a doozy, y'all. It was a lot going on, but it was a good one, and I'm ready to dive into it. So, yeah, and I'm sorry, like y'all, this week I wanted to get this recap out earlier, but I have been so busy and so exhausted. Life has been lifing. And so I apologize for the late release of this one, but I'm here. I'm committed to the process. So bear with me, y'all. I hope to get us a nice settled schedule for the future. So again, just bear with me. But yeah, so X-Men 97, episode 7, entitled Bright Eyes. Oh my God. Let's just get into it. Let's get into it. So we start off with Gambit's funeral. Okay, I don't want to cry. I don't want to cry. Y'all, Remy LeBeau. He go, y'all. He go. He go. And they let him down. They was laying his body to the ground. And Bishop Nightcrawler was giving the eulogy. And it was a beautiful eulogy. He said some very beautiful, kind words about Remy LeBeau. And I really wish Remy could have heard these words. And he had a quote that was reminiscent to me from X-Men, the animated series, season 5, the final episode, when Professor was talking to, he was going around that little circle for those who know, but some of y'all may need to go back. But he was giving words of encouragement to each one of the X-Men as he was dying, quote unquote. And so one of the things that Nightcrawler said reminded me of that. Nightcrawler says, how could Remy, so tuned to potential, fail to see his sins that made him into a hero? And that calls back, in my opinion, to what Professor Xavier told him when he says, how often must the scoundrel prove himself a hero before he believes it himself? Mm, mm. Very profound. Very profound, because we all know that Gambit was constantly self-deprecating. Like, I'm just a scoundrel, y'all. Like, this is how the cards is, mon ami. This how it be for Gambit, like he just didn't believe that he deserved to be. I don't know if he didn't feel like he deserved to be loved, but like maybe he just didn't feel like he was worthy of the title hero, and he truly was a hero to everybody but himself. So I wish he could have been alive to hear this. Then we get to, and Jubilee was crying. She was upset at Rogue wasn't there, and Wolverine had to explain to her that everybody grieves differently. And Nightcrawler was like, "Listen, y'all wasn't there. This is more than grief. Seeing those people, the bodies piling up, this is more than that." Which sends us to Rogue's rampage, right? Rogue's rampage. She going through the desert to the facility, and she tearing these suckers up. Okay, this is the Rogue that we know and love. Fully powered, tossing tanks, throwing tanks, robots, knocking robots out, busting into buildings. Because I loved how the military people were down in a little bunker type facility, prison facility. And one of the guys was like, the general or the leader, he was like, it's okay. This place was built to contain the Hulk. There's no way that little mutant from the swamp is going to be able to, as soon as he said to here go roll, rips off the roof. And says, my daddy always told me it's easier to break into prison than break it out. And so she gets down in there and she like, listen, I know y'all done moved Henry, Gary, Bolivar trash. Y'all better get to explaining something. Where they at? I want to know, and I want to know now. And so she mean business, baby. She ain't playing with these people. And he like, I thought you supposed to be the guy. She said, y'all killed them, sugar. I'm a different type. Not me. Nope. Ain't no Miss Nice. We here for the humans, protect the human. Nope. Wrong one. Not me. Not I. Not anymore. And so then we get to a conversation with the president and Scott. And this raggedy president, ain't nothing I can do to help you, Scott. I'm sorry. No more aid that we can send. There hasn't been any new recoveries in the last couple of weeks. And so I'm just trying to do what I can to help y'all. And Scott's like, you ain't doing enough. You need to be out here trying to help us put the piece together. Like, what's going on? Like, why I'm just trying to make sure nobody else who is less sympathetic to your cause, don't get in here. So your best bet is to he basically was telling Scott he need to pipe down because Scott was like, we need help and y'all aren't trying to help us. So the president pretty much was like, we ain't giving y'all no help. And you need to just be grateful that, I'm doing what I can at the moment. So y'all, it was so annoying. It's frustrating because Scott made some points. Scott was like, if it would have been some humans, had this been some humans, y'all would have been rushing over there, rushing over Genosha. But because it's us mutants, now all of a sudden it's on the back burner. Oh, now we can't touch it. He said, you too busy worried about polls and not death tolls. Clock it, Scott. Clock it. Look, this radical Scott, this radical Cyclops. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And so the president hang up on him too, by the way. He's like, listen, and like I say, so he leaves that conversation. Then we go to the Genosha support effort. And so the team goes to Genosha to try to recover some bodies, to try to instill hope within the mutant community, because that's what Scott was saying. They need this. The mutant people need to know that the X-Men are still here. And we're going to do what we can to make sure that the professor's dream doesn't die like this. So they go trying to, recover as much as they can, try to find some more bodies. And as they're helping, TT show up. And if y'all recall, TT is Trish Tilby, the reporter. So she done brought her behind out here. And I'm already side-eyeing her because y'all know how I feel about TT. TT don't do right. She always appearing that she here to help, or she love the mutants and she want to get to know them and all of those things, but she ain't no good. And we're going to get into why she ain't no good. So after she arrived, then we go back to Rogue. And as she's on her search, I guess she got some information from the general back at the base. And then she runs into Mr. Captain America. He throw his shield right at her feet. And she grab it. And she like, if it isn't America's top cop, clock him, clock it. Because that's what he is. Exactly. America's top cop. Just in the way, talking about you gotta stop, bro. You doing too much. You need to chill. And she's like, I ain't chilling. She's like, listen, they got Bolivar and Gyrick. I'm gonna find them. And basically, it's like, oh, it's like let's go talk this out. There's this facility that they're both at, and so he's basically just trying to let her know that he's also on the scent of them. He's trying to figure out what's going on, right? So they go down into this like secret part of this other base that they're at, and they see OZT, and she's like, "What's OZT? What organization is this?" And he tells her it's like this black ops, off the books, very hush hush, very top secret organization that nobody really knows about, and they're the ones who has Trask and Gyrick. And so through this conversation, he's basically like, "Bro, we got to do this by the book, you know." Gyrick is in Mexico. He's at a facility in Mexico, but I'm gonna get a team together after a couple, let me go back and rally the troops up in a little bit. We go head down there. We go get him. She's like, nah, sugar, let's go get him right now because you seen how they left this place. If we wait too long, then we might not get another chance. They might been moved him again. And he's like, I can't go barging in there. It ain't gonna look good. And so if I go with this my uniform on, what is it? What kind of message that is that gonna send? And she like, it's gonna show that you stand with the mutants. Unless you don't. And he was like, I'm sorry, bro, my hands are tied. And she's like, oh, if your hands are tied, you won't be needing this. So she snatched his shield and tossed that sucker into the mountains. When I tell you that was one of the funniest moments I've seen. Well, you won't be needing this. Toss that sucker. Go fetch. Top cop. Go fetch. Hey, Captain America could do nothing but just sit there and watch. Like, dang, I'm gonna have to really go get that, huh? So I wonder how he got it back. I hope he got a tracking device in it. Because if he don't, I don't can I even make another one of those shields? I feel like that's that's not something that you can make again. So feel bad for him. Not because y'all know how I feel about Captain America. Just going back thinking about how he was in Civil War. Oh no, he was good in Civil War. No. It was Tony that I didn't like. So I'm gonna give him a little bell. I did like him in Civil War. It was Tony I couldn't stand. But Captain America is just Captain America. I don't care for Captain America. Sorry. So after that, then we get back to the relief efforts in Genosha, and Jubilee is talking to Roberto, and she's basically like, yeah, I told my parents about what's going on and let them know I'm okay. And she's like, did you tell your mom and them yet? And he like, no, I ain't told them. I'm gonna tell them later. And she like, you need to go tell them. You need to have a conversation with your mom and them right now. Like, quit holding off. Like, he's like, you can't trying to force me to do it, Jubilee. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And she's like, okay, you want them to find out on the 5 o'clock news? I didn't want my parents burying a stranger. So you need to figure out what you want to do, bro. And he's like, okay, will you come with me? And so she's like, of course. So she decides to accompany him to go tell his parents that he's a mutant. So he's getting ready to unburden this secret of his. So we'll talk about how that goes. And so in the meantime, right, Beast is having a conversation with TT, Tris Tilby. And this conversation goes left. He has to clock her for her ignorance and her human privilege because she basically was like, yeah, all this is going on, this destruction. And he was like, well, riots are the language of the unheard. And she was like, oh, yeah, that's Dr. Martin Luther King. Well, she didn't say doctor, just disrespectful. Disrespectful. It's Dr. King, TT. Put that doctor on there. He earned it. She's like, oh, that's Martin Luther King. And she's like, but I don't know. It's destruction. It's destruction. Is not communication. Breaking stuff and destroying things. And she was like, well, normal people are going to be afraid of that. And the fear is the problem. And so he like, hold on. You know what, Trish? I'm sorry for begging to be tolerated. Pretty much. He lets her know that, like, that's what you think of us? Like, us trying to find tolerance and find this middle ground is us begging you to just show us some decency, but you're still going to be afraid of us no matter what. And she's like, that's not what I meant. He's like, no, that's not what I said. Shit, no, but that's what you meant because you expect mutants to just comply. You expect them to do things the way you want them to and your own comfortability. And you expect them to just be kind and, just be nice and sit back and be peaceful and don't destroy nothing. Don't get out of hand. And so people are only willing, the normal people, quote unquote, are only willing to hear them out or accept them if they're tame and they're demure and they're withdrawn and not outspoken. And he's like, you know what? Maybe we were wrong to ask y'all to be tolerant of us. And she's like, no, be some. No, go leave. Pretty much. Get out of here, Trish. I don't even want to hear this no more. And so I'm glad he called her out for her foolishness, her ignorance, and her human privilege to even say that type of stuff. So yeah, he said it was a mistake. He said Charles, I love Charles, but I think it was a mistake. And Genosha is a prime example. It was a mistake, low-key. High-key, really. So after that, we go back to Rogue and how she finds Gyrick in Mexico. She's like, hold on, this ain't no prison. This is like a resort. She said the D word. This is like a resort. This is a dang resort. Which it was. He out here chilling, sipping Mai Tais, got his little Hawaiian shirt on, and look, got all this artwork and stuff. And so she basically run up on him. And he like, you ain't gonna find trash. Don't even ask me. I don't know where he at. And don't even think about trying to use Cyclops' little girlfriend to probe my mind. It ain't gonna work. And she quickly let him know, oh, honey, this ain't that type of probe. So she take off her glove and start draining his memories. And in these flashes, we see Bastion's face, and then we see Nimrod's face, for those who are familiar with Nimrod. And then the scene just kind of goes dark. Then we go back to Genosha, which has Jean and Cyclops are kind of talking about their relationship and how it's been rocky. There isn't any closure, but then, she talks about how she understands what he's going through. And she's ready to move past it. They're ready to move into this next phase of what their relationship can be. And in the midst of this, she picks up a signal. She's like, Scott, a telepath up ahead. Um, and he's no good. So, Madeline, y'all were just on the right page. Y'all was just getting on the same page with each other, trying to repair what has been broken and lost. And you talking about some Madeline. And I get it, because Nate and all that stuff, the baby, I get it. But dang, right in front of her face. So here they go rushing. And out of the rubble, they pulled out the one and only Emma Grace Frost. Okay. She has officially survived. So she is our official survivor from Genosha. In the massacre, she survived. And in her survival, she unlocked her secondary mutation, which is her diamond form. And of course, she has to give us a little quip, right? So she's like, well, I've always done well under pressure. Ooh, ooh, she ate that. Because, diamonds are made from coals being put under intense pressure. And so she basically like, listen, I've always done well under pressure. And being under pressure makes diamonds, giving her diamond form. So I am excited to see more of Emma Frost. Love Emma Frost. There was a lot of debate and discourse on TikTok, on Twitter, and everywhere else about how she has her form and how she was in her form and how is she able to pick her up, because typically telepaths aren't able to find Emma when she's in her diamond form, right? And she isn't allowed to use her telepathy when she's in her diamond form. And I think the reason being, and I've explained this, not that I'm the end all be all, right? But from the way I understood it, was I felt like Emma Frost wanted to be found. And I know this differs from the comics, because in the comics, she rose up out of the debris in the carnage with one of her dead students. So she wasn't found. She just kind of got herself out of it. But since she was found, I felt like she wanted to be found. And so she allowed herself to be found by Jean. But then that also goes into how Jean is the only one who's able to bypass Emma's psychic defenses in her diamond form, because Jean is an Omega level telepath. And so Jean is the only one who can find her. So maybe they were kind of playing into that ability for Jean to find her that way. So some people weren't too big of fans that she was found and not herself pulling herself out of the rubble. But nonetheless, we got Emma in her diamond form. So y'all can leave Bo alone, because I know a lot of people like, Bo hates Emma. He hates Emma. Well, he gave us the diamond form, right? So be grateful. And a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's gonna start the Scott and Emma thing. Hopefully, maybe. I don't know. I don't really, y'all be worried about these ships. I don't really care about no relationships. I don't care about who loving who, liking who. Bring on the drama, bring on the everything. I want to see it all, but I don't care if Scott chooses Emma, Jean, Madeline, whoever he want to be with. So be it. So we'll be keeping an eye on it, out on that for sure. So then we get to Trask. He sends a message to the X-Men via the X-Jet. Basically, he tells them to he's gonna clear out the building that he's at, to come to Madripoor, and he's gonna give them the truth about what happened. Naturally, they're skeptical. Scott and them is pissed, like, you done killed all the people. Why would we trust him? And so they're like, let's just hear him out. We're gonna go see what he got to say. So they go see what he got to say. But before then, we get to the scene where Roberto and Jubilee, they made it back to his home, and he goes to tell his mom that he's a mutant. And she's like, oh, baby, we knew. We was just waiting on you. It's the typical, it's a little weird that they have like the mutant. I don't know if it's weird. Maybe weird's not the right word. But the way they are, they made being a mutant like a coming out story. And so it's kind of like, you hear a lot about when people have their coming out stories, that their families are like, oh, we been knew. We were just waiting on you. We were just waiting on you to say something. So that's what his mom pretty much like, baby, we knew you set our house on fire 4 different times. Like, mysteriously we turned 16. We knew. And so she was like, oh, cool, we good. She's like, yeah, but we need you to be discreet, because the shareholders don't like nothing to do with mutants, and we ain't got time to be losing no money. So you need to choose your allegiances very carefully. So that was the kicker for that. Moving on from that, we have Nightcrawler. He finds Rogue. She's in the alley. She's crying. She kind of blacked out actually, because he found her just out in the street. I don't know what she was just doing out there, but after she absorbed the memories, I guess she was just kind of feeling the weight of grief. And so they have a moment together, and she opens up about Remy's death, and he notices that she's pretty much blaming herself. And he was like, listen, she was like, I lost my man. And here go Nightcrawler talk about two men, really. And he was like, and it's not your fault. Like, it's not your fault that they're gone. He's like, because honestly, you helped them both to live, Rogue. So it's okay to grieve them both. And so she just bust out, almost said laughing. She bust out in tears. I mean, boohoo, wailing. And he's comforting her. And they do mention, being siblings and whatnot. So that was a beautiful scene to have them be there for each other. Or at least her open up, and he's able to comfort her in her grieving. Then here come Bastion. We see Gyrick laying in the bed, and he like, oh, everything gonna be all right. And Bastion like, see, because you almost messed up and got my plan revealed too early, so I'm gonna take you out. So he take his oxygen mask off of Gyrick, oxygen mask off of Gyrick, and suffocate him, killed him. No ifs, ands, buts, second thoughts about it. Takes him out. Then the team arrives at Madripoor, in the building. It's cleared out because sleeping gas, so everybody's put to sleep. They find the key, the entrance to the secret lair in the building, or the sub basement level of the building that they're going in. And they find this laboratory with all this new technology, these cybernetic figures and models of advanced technology, way beyond anything that's of their time, right? And as they're going through it, they catch Trask trying to jump off the darn building. And so Rogue rushes over there to stop him from doing it. She's like, listen, like, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. what's going on? Tell us what's happening. And so he kind of just started telling him, like, it's Mr. Sinister, he did it. Mr. Sinister did it. Oh, don't blame me. I'm sorry. I didn't know he was gonna do that. That's not what I was planning on. I didn't mean for all this to happen. And save it for somebody that want to hear it. But pretty much he like, yeah, it's Sinister's fault. Sinister did this, Sinister did that. And so she's like, is there anything else that you can tell us? What's OZT? He's like, I don't know. It's just an organization that appeared when my former Sentinel program got disbanded. And there's not really much else I can do. I don't know much. I'm just telling you what I know. And he was like, y'all, it's the future. Y'all, it's too much. Y'all better. Pretty much he was telling them they need to get prepared because some stuff is coming and they not prepared for it. And just as he thinks he's caught his break because he jumps, Rogue catches him, and she's like, is there anything else you can help us? Is there any information? He's like, no. And she's like, oh, well, goodbye. Drops him. Yes, she did. Drops him to his death. And here go Nightcrawler and Morph. Oh no. Is this who we are? Is this what we represent? Like, what's going on? And Wolverine said, she did what we all would have done, what we all wanted to do. Cyclops and Jean was both sitting there like, I ain't gonna say nothing. And just as she was about to explain herself, boom, explosion. Trask is floating in the air above them. Skin has changed, eyes have changed. He's morphed into some kind of human sentinel who identifies itself as Prime Sentinel. So Rogue killing him activated this setting in him that was put in him by Bastion, of course, or Sinister, or both. And he's like nearly this unbeatable sentinel. And so they start fighting this sentinel. Well, first of all, let me give some props to Jean because sis caught a building or top of a building and debris and chunked it into the water. No fainting, like no, oh Scott, no passing out. No, sis might have got weary, but she did not faint. Okay, she's been drinking her alkaline water. She's been taking her vitamins. She's been in the danger room session. She like, old girl who was in the X-Men animated series. I am no longer that girl. I am a new woman. Okay, and she showed it and proved it in this episode. So shout out to Jean for being the Jean that we know that's a boss because she bossed up. But so in the meantime, they're fighting this Sentinel. Morph turns into Quicksilver, which was a lot of debate on how Morph. Y'all need to quit. Let it go. We done told you. He can copy, mimic physical attributes. Lady Deathstrike's claws, Angel's wings. Like, he can mimic physical things. Blob's belliness, his belliness. Blob's belly and buoyancy in his belly. Like, he can mimic these things, and Quicksilver's powers come from his feet. So it's only natural, it makes sense that he can access what he can do with his feet, which is move fast. Morph gets taken out. Wolverine, pissed off, starts coming for the Sentinel, him and Beast. The Sentinel knocks them out. Then here comes Jean. Jean chunks some debris at it, knocks it out. Then her and the Sentinel go into the air and just kind of like a Dragon Ball Z sequence, fighting sequence, when they supercharged and they just. So that was them, right? But then the Sentinel knock her out, take her down. And here comes Cyclops. Stay down. Blasting with the optic beam. But then the Sentinel blocks the beam and smashes his head into the ground. He's like, you remember what I told you when we were my inferior form, saw you in the desert? How does it feel to be abandoned by the future? And so it's funny that the Sentinel will say that, because then there's this little grenade that launches right next to them. It's an electromagnetic grenade that launches and takes out the Sentinel. And who comes out of the shadows? The future itself. Cable, aka Nathaniel Gray, or Nathaniel Summers, the baby that they sent to the future. Him and Maddie's son. And he's like, oh my gosh, it's you, son. He's like, skip the introductions, reunions, dad. Like, no. And Jean picks it up in her head. Oh my God, it's you. And he's like, stay out of my head. You're not her. You ain't have to do all that. You have to do all that, Cable. And so he tells him, like, yeah, these type of sentinels, you need those electromagnetic grenades. That's the easiest way to take them things out. And so that's pretty much what they left us with, except after that little reunion they had right there. We move on to Sinister and Bastion meeting up. So Sinister meets up with Bastion. So now we know that they are indeed working together. Sinister's like, why would you let them get the upper hand? You should have waited till we had a full rollout and to overwhelm them. And Bastion was like, that's what y'all did back in the day, right? And clearly ain't nothing worked. So I'm gonna do the exact opposite of what y'all used to do and do something different. And so Sinister was like, Sinister do not like to be clocked or told anything. He was like, well, you was one of those villains of old too. And he was like, yes, and I've evolved. So pretty much get with the program. I know what I'm doing. I got this. Chill. I got some secrets, just like they got secrets. And so he also mentions to Sinister that he was able to fix the satellite or whatever that showed the transmission from the E.A.R. It was E.A.R technology that was recovered. And it broadcasted the whole ceremony thing with Lilandra when she was announcing Xavier to be her husband. And he's like, oh, so the X-Men been selling the whole world a whole lie. I said, oh God, help us, Father. If they gonna expose the X-Men, if they gonna put this tape out, like, oh, they lied to y'all. Because Sinister was like, I thought Gyrick killed him. He was like, the X-Men been telling the world a lie. He's like, but you know what? They not the only ones that's been selling the whole world a lie. Cutscene. Bastion goes to this little room or whatever. I don't know where he at, little office, basement, underground, cellar somewhere. Plays his music, turn on a little music. And out pops, well, not even out pops, he reveals that he has a captive, which means there was another survivor from the Genosha massacre. And it is none other than Magnus, Eric Lansha, aka Magneto. Yep, you heard it, folks. Magneto is alive, and he is Bastion's prisoner. He is collared, so he can't use his powers. And Bastion is giving him a shave and basically telling him, "Oh, you was made for this. Just be still, obey. Everything gonna be all right." And all this stuff, like, it's a little weird, but I just like, ooh, I don't know what this means. What are they about to do? What's getting ready to happen, y'all? I don't know. I don't think we ready. I don't think we're ready. They have stepped up. X-Men 97 has just, oh my God, I'm not ready for this 3-part finale, which is Tolerance is Extinction, or yeah. Is it? That's what it, yeah, Tolerance is Extinction. The 3-part finale of the series. And so I don't know what's gonna happen, y'all. But I'll just say this for episode 7, that does conclude my recap of episode 7. Thank y'all for staying with me. And I'm going to rate this episode. I'm gonna give this episode a 9 out of 10. A 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good, had some good action scenes in it, good dialogue. It was funny. I love the reality aspect, when the quote in Dr. King and talking about tolerance and, you know, bringing out biases and privileges of the humans and things of that nature. So I really enjoyed this episode. I did. Thought it was a great episode. So, in a perfect segue, revealing who's behind the Genosha massacre in full. So many different things playing into what's happening. Although we were looking forward to seeing Storm, we didn't see no Storm this episode. It's all right. We know she's coming back next episode, so we're excited for that. So yeah, y'all. I mean, I'm here. We're here. We made it to the end of the road. I'm excited to see what they have in store for us. So, listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I can't express how thankful I am for you to listen and take the time out to listen to little old me and to be one of my ear hustlers. I'm officially going on record like that's gonna be our name, the ear hustlers. Y'all the ear hustlers. My base, y'all the ear hustlers. So thank you, Ear Hustlers, for making the Ear Chronicles, this channel, what it is. And I cannot wait to give more content and to continue covering X-Men, X-Men related things, and other stuff outside of X-Men as well in the future. So before we head out, please, please, please make sure you are subscribing. If you come across this channel and you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Please tell your friends, aunties, uncles, cousins, mama, daddy, grandma, grandpa, whoever who may be interested in X-Men or anything related to anime, other cartoons, sci-fi, fantasy, things of that nature. Please, please, please tell them to subscribe and make sure you're following me on Twitter at EAR Chronicles, capital EAR Chronicles, and on Instagram at the EAR Chronicles. And yeah, make sure you have the notifications set, the notification bell on, so you never miss when I have another recap coming out. So until next time, you all, thank you so much for tuning in to the EAR Chronicles. Until next time, bye.